People like Donald Trump with wealth, with fame, with all the resources at his fingertips, even though he owes hundreds of millions of dollars in debt and to the IRS, typically get away with all sorts of things, right? They typically get to take advantage of the two-tier justice system. They find loopholes, they can afford the best defense attorneys. Except it looks like the chickens have come home to roost for Donald Trump because he's having a difficult time finding representation, finding a lawyer who will defend him in the Senate impeachment trial. So we're learning that there's one guy who's considering it. He's talking to Trump, but he has not committed to defending Trump. And that gentleman's name is Butch Bowers. He's a lawyer from Columbia, South Carolina, who once worked in the Justice Department under President George W. Bush. He's been in conversation with Trump in recent days, and that's according to two people familiar with the matter. Bowers was connected to Trump by Senator Lindsey Graham because of course he was. A South Carolina Republican who is just addicted to the taste of Donald Trump's boots. Even when Trump has no power, he can't get enough. He's like, that shoe polish is delicious. Let me see if I could find a lawyer who's willing to represent you. Now, I love the response from one other potential lawyer who immediately threw cold water on the possibility of defending Trump. Charlie Condon, a former South Carolina attorney who now works in private practice in Charleston, has been approached about joining the legal team, two people familiar with the matter said. In a brief statement on Monday evening, though, he said, "I'm not representing former President Trump, thanks." I love that. I love that short to the point statement. And it's because they're worried that Trump's not gonna pay.
So let me get it. Let me see if I'm saying it right. So there's the scuttlebutt that Butch said yes and Charlie said no. Is that how it works?
That is, well, the scuttlebutt is that Butch is considering and Charlie said no.
Oh yeah, there. Butch is considering and Charlie said no thanks. I mean, I think that I would also take into consideration that somebody would not want to be associated with defending the only president in the United States that has been impeached twice, and that once is for attempting to steal or do away with our democracy. So I just think it's interesting that somebody would actually take that and say, maybe.
I know. But the fact that he hasn't committed to it, I think is telling, because who wants to be associated? Like, who wants to be identified as a lead defense attorney for a guy who provoked insurrection, a violent riot in the Capitol that led to 5 people dying, including a Capitol police officer? I mean, again, Trump doesn't have a single lawyer who has committed to this, and it's for good reason. And then, by the way, finally, the fact that he refuses to pay his debts, the fact that he refuses to pay his lawyers, including his refusal to pay Rudy Giuliani, which I find hilarious, is catching up to him, because that's one of the reasons why law firms are refusing to work with him. Doesn't matter that he's a former president of the United States. They're like, we're gonna get involved in this super controversial, probably ugly, messy trial. And for what if he's unlikely to pay us? And remember, he owes hundreds of millions of dollars to Deutsche Bank. His IRS audit, I'm sure, is gonna begin again. And based on the details of that audit and what he did in all the tricks and maneuvers he pulled to try to get, and he did get tens of millions of dollars in a tax refund, he's probably gonna have to pay the IRS back taxes as well. I mean, he's in a lot of trouble. So, if these lawyers are just looking out for their reputations, but more importantly to them, their bottom line, working with Trump is a liability. And I'm glad they realize that. Maybe you can find a public defender. I don't know.
Let's find out if Matthew McConaughey is available.
No, but we'll see how it plays out. I'm sure he'll find someone. I mean, look at the lawyers that worked with him for his campaign. Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani. I mean, it was just a band of clowns who not only embarrassed Trump and his campaign, but embarrassed the country. Those are the kinds of people that he, rubbed shoulders with and thought were fantastic. Oh my God, thought were fantastic for legal representation. And so, some of these law firms that still have some credibility probably don't want to get mixed up with that clown.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.